everybody. Welcome back to the Haunted Vermont podcast. My name is Paul Doski, and with us, huh? You know, I'm trying to figure out how to word this because I've never actually heard of this person's work until Small Town Monsters documentary called "On the Trail of Champ," which came out in 2016, I believe. If I got the year wrong, you can murder me. I don't care. Anyway, without further ado, this is Katy Elizabeth, who is known for Champ Search. And, well, let's bring her on to the show. Welcome aboard, Katy.
Hi, Paul. Thank you so much for having me on the show today.
Oh, you're so welcome. It was a pleasure to reach out to you, and I was just like, well, hopefully you should be interested in talking. And then it's just like, we had to go back and forth with some emails, which is fine. And you've been a busy lady, and it sounds like before we even recorded, when we had a little chit chat for a minute, it sounds like you're gonna even have a busy summer.
Yes, absolutely. Things are just creeping up really, really fast right now. Since it's spring, it's basically the start of what I call champ season, when the sightings start pouring in around April all the way till October, and I'll talk more about that later. But yeah, a lot of projects in the future going on. I've been doing some TV filming, some for the History Channel and so forth. I can't say what shows because I'm under contract. So things have been really buzzing at the moment, and I kind of suspect as soon as summer gets here, it's probably going to be even more busy. So I'm just hoping it's not going to be too much on my plate, but we'll see.
Let's hope not, because sometimes you just need that mental break every now and then.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Sometimes I just have to, shut off my phone. I have so many people calling me and things coming in, and I get really overwhelmed, and I've got different projects, upcoming books and stuff, and I'm just like, sometimes I just need a break. We all need a break once in a while because you get burnt out. You really, really do.
Oh yeah, I can vouch that. I remember, you know, like I was telling you off the air, and I'll just put it on here. Like I do another podcast besides Haunted Vermont, and it was just like the burning out atmosphere came into play, and it was just like, okay, I think I need like a couple months off. And like at one point it became the fact where it was like, oh, maybe I shouldn't do this anymore. And then it was just like, oh, but now I miss it. It's like Friday night, I have nothing going on, and I'm used to recording episodes with people, and it's just like, this kind of sucks.
Yeah, I mean, you just have to have a time for yourself, and that's the thing. I literally get so burnt out that I get physically ill, and it's like, okay, I need to just take a couple of days and not even think of champ, which is really hard for me because it's my passion, it's my love, it's the love of my life. So, but I do have to set things aside once in a while and all the crazy stuff that comes along with it, just to get my head back on my shoulders, so to speak, and to have a clear head and do better and gather more ideas for the search for the summer.
I 100% agree with you with the clearing your head and stuff. Like, just sitting down away from the phone, watching a movie, or just relaxing. Really, like even if it's with a beer, bottle, water, or whatever your favorite beverage is, and just leaning back in your chair, whatever, or bed, it's just nice. But to move forward to Katy is so before we kind of dive into what your champ search is, I'm kind of curious of really like uh how what was it like with you growing up? So like what kind of got you into the whole if I may say cryptozoology and maybe perhaps like the paranormal side? Like what came first, I guess?
um, Basically, I think the paranormal actually came first. We talked a little bit about that before we started recording this. When I was growing up in Rhode Island, the first house that I lived in was extremely haunted, and I remember I was probably around four, and I think we moved from that house to my grandmother's house when I was six. So I was very young, 4 and 5, as far as back as I can remember. And I remember that my mom had some really strange experiences in the house. Saw a little girl apparition in 1700s clothing with a little cap and the dress and the whole 9 yards. And, of course, nobody said anything around me because I was so little they didn't want to scare me. So I remember seeing in the first experience that I ever had, I was in the kitchen. I was looking out the window, and it was broad daylight in the morning. And I saw this reflection of my face in the window, of course, and then I saw a little girl's reflection next to mine. And it scared the crap out of me. I was like, whoa. And I was like, I didn't know what to think. Like, I didn't scream or anything like that, but I kind of looked to my left, like where it was, and I'm like, well, I'm not seeing anything standing next to me. So I said, Mommy, I'm like, there's an angel in the window. Because that's what she looked like. She had such an angelic face. And my mom looked at me like, she's like, Katie, what are you talking about? There's nobody there. And I'm like, the little girl in the window. And she almost like, she was holding, I think it was like a frying pan or something, because we were in the kitchen, and she almost dropped it. That's how startled she was by what I said. Because as you know, children are really sensitive to the paranormal. They see a lot more than we do as adults. So that was my first paranormal experience. Throughout my life, I've had quite a few. But then when I turned 7, I was at my grandmother's house where we moved to, which was probably about 5 miles down the road, not very far. And I was watching an episode of Unsolved Mysteries with Robert Stack, because back then Robert Stack just made the show. His voice was so iconic and so mysterious. And I remember seeing the photo of Champ that was snapped by Sandra Mancy in 1977. And that totally just, I couldn't get that picture out of my head. So I yelled to my mom, like, Mom, there's a lake monster in Vermont, New York. Like, she's like, what are you watching? So she sat down and watched the episode with me, and I was just so fascinated. And that is where it all started. And I went to my local library at my school. I took out, they did have the book by Joseph Zarzinski, Champ Beyond the Legend. I took that out. And they also had a book on Nessie at Loch Ness. I believe that was, I'm trying to remember, I think it was Roy Mackle's book. And I took that out too. So ever since then, I've been totally interested in especially Champ and other lake monsters around the world. So that's where it was basically hook, line, and sinker at that point. I bit the bait.
Fair enough. It's actually kind of funny that you mentioned like Unsolved Mysteries with Robert Stack. That used to be like my go-to show, even when I was little. I loved that show so much.
Oh, totally. And it's really funny. I had a friend of mine. His name was Frank Calley, and he worked for Air Force One. He was in government stuff, and he used to tell me all these crazy stories, like conspiracy stuff, and he's like, yeah, you know what? I'm probably gonna die this year. He says to me, and like, I don't care if they're tapping my phone. And he did pass away, which is like, whoa. And he would tell me all kinds of stories from when he was working, but he did tell me because he was also a radio host. And he met a lot of different celebrities, and one of them was Robert Stack, and he said that he told him at the beginning of the program, do you remember, like, he would be in, like, all this fog, like, they'd have a fog machine, like, out there and stuff, you'd see all the fog kind of rolling across when he would introduce the program, and you'd see, like, the wet pavement that he was standing on. Well, come to find out, it wasn't at a studio, it was in his driveway. His personal driveway. That's where they filmed those shots. Yeah.
That I did not know that, so that's actually new to me. That's really cool.
It's funny who you know and who they know.
No, that phrase, or the saying, like it's a small world. I believe it 100%. It's kind of crazy once you really get to know, like who knows what. It's just crazy.
It is. It sure is.
Yeah, and that's so. What was the two books again? Champ Beyond the Legend and what?
It was Champ Beyond the Legend and The Monsters of Loch Ness by Roy Mackle.
Oh, okay. Like
That's like
I
a
was.
really old. That's like a really old book. I think that one. I want to say it goes back to the 70s.
Oh
So,
wow.
although I don't want to be saying that because you might be older than me. I don't know. I'm 37, so
I'm
I
third.
was
I'm
born
gonna
in
be
'85.
35. Yeah, I was born in '87, so you're older
Oh,
than me.
okay. Well, you're younger than me. Get out of town.
No, no. I would just here's the fun factor. I was actually born on Tuesday, October 13th.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, um, yeah, that's a little fun fact. Because I might as well throw in Tuesday because usually everybody asks me if I was born on Friday the 13th. Ha ha ha. No, I was not. So.
Well, hey, it would go perfect with your interest, right? But you got
Oh,
the you got
yeah.
the 13 in there, so that's good. There you
That's the
go.
unlucky number, as people call it. Oh, even though I call it the lucky number. So, I mean, it is what it is. But oh yeah. So it's just funny because the reason why I was just asking was because now you made me look up Champ Beyond the Legend and stuff. So I just found it. It seems so. I'm gonna have to try to figure out a way to pick it up somewhere. So that's another book to add to my book collection, which is nice.
Definitely. If you look online, there's a website called Abe Books, ABE. They have a lot of like used books on there in great condition. Some of them are first edition, some of them are signed, and you can get really really good deals on there. And I'm sure I can even send you the link. I'll look for you and just see if it's on there. I'm trying to remember how I got my copy. I don't even know. I think it might have been that or eBay.
I've actually found a cool site too, since we're talking about interested in book sites and stuff besides Amazon. I've actually found one called discoverbooks.com.
Okay.
And same probably same idea, the one you're talking about. Like they do like used books depending on the condition, uh ranging from like acceptable, good, very good, brand new. So pretty nice, actually. I found it a long time ago. Actually, I 2 years ago I found it when I was hunting the original Goosebumps books.
Oh, geez, you were into that too. So was I.
Oh yeah, I love my RS.
Oh my God, it's so funny because there's a. It's not Netflix. It's called Tubi, Tubi, and it's really great. It's free. I have it on my phone and my tablet. And there's Unsolved Mysteries with Robert Stack, a lot of the old programs, and also they have the Goosebumps series, like the different programs, the little shows that they had for the book series.
Yeah, and I actually still have my VHS copy of The Haunted Mask.
Oh gosh, that's so funny. I also like the Tower of Terror. That was one of my
Oh
favorite
my god,
episodes
yeah.
too.
Yeah, or what was the other one, real quick, that I'm trying to think of? The Ghost Next Door. That was another favorite of mine.
Yep.
And then if I wasn't watching Goosebumps, I was watching Are You Afraid of the Dark on Nickelodeon.
Oh my God, you gotta be kidding me because I was watching that on YouTube the other day.
Oh, I love my old school stuff. Like
You know what I think it is too. It's our generation. We were born around the same time, and those were the shows back then. And I mean, it really sucks now. You turn on like
oh,
Nickelodeon, it
thank
sucks.
you, yo, thank you for saying that so much. Oh my god.
I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go back to my roots. I'm gonna watch the Rugrats. I'm gonna watch Are You Afraid of the Dark, Ren and Stimpy, like all the really cool
God.
shows. And oh, and Doug. I like Doug too.
Cat Dog and All Real Monsters. Yep. Rocko's Modern Life. Oh
Oh,
man.
geez. Now you get. Oh boy. Now the song's stuck in my head.
Oh boy. Well, we'll try to sidetrack for a minute because we could
I
probably
know
go
too
on
many
and
good memories from when we were younger.
it really is. But and nobody listening probably gonna know what we're talking about. But
You're
that's
like,
all
what
right.
the hell is wrong with these two? Like, we have no clue.
We only know about that one Ghost Danny or Danny Ghost or whatever. Like that was good. It's like no, no, no. Uh, It's all right, but anyway, yeah. Anyway, so to get back on track, so that started it all. Anyway, for basically with Unsolved Mystery, amazing. Like I said, I love that show. I actually have both the soundtracks for Unsolved Mysteries on vinyl. So
Oh, that's so cool.
So, yeah, that just really goes to show like how much I love it. I even gave the new one a chance, where the one that Netflix did, I gave that a chance, and I actually don't mind it. I like the way they were trying to do it without a host, but I mean, like, come on, we need somebody like Robert Stack again. I feel like.
Oh, yeah, totally. That's a really hard thing to match, though, as you know.
Oh, nobody can replace Robert. I don't care who you are and what you say.
They actually contacted me to do something on Champ, and then they changed their mind. So I was like, oh, but because it kind of it was kind of disappointing because that's what got me into Champ. And then you think of the new stuff, the new data that I have, it would have made a great follow-up episode.
Oh, for sure, yeah. For sure.
So maybe, just maybe, they'll change their mind. We'll see. But one of my friends, he was in the episode, the Berkshire UFO case.
Oh my God! Yep, that is such an interesting case. But for those that may not know, Katie, would you mind just sharing a little idea of what that story is?
Excuse me, I've got terrible allergies today. There was a case in the Berkshires. One of my friends, Tom Warner, had a UFO alien abduction happen to him when he was just a child. And there was multiple people in that area of where he lived, which is Great Barrington, Massachusetts, basically near the line of New York. And of course, the Hudson area of New York is like a big UFO hot spot as well. So there was a lot of people in that case where they didn't even know each other, and they basically spoke out about being abducted. And as soon as they met, they remembered each other's face. Like, it was just the strangest thing. Like, the one woman, I can't remember her name. I'll have to go back and watch the episode. Her and my friend Tom Warner are really good friends, and she didn't remember him, but he remembered seeing her on the spacecraft. So it was just such a strange thing. Like, he went to go back home. He was at the neighbor's house. He was coloring at the time with his coloring books and stuff. And he heard this voice telepathically, Tommy, you have to go home. So he went to leave, and he was running towards his house. And I think it was the neighbor came out, and then his brother came out. And they saw this bright light come down. And he's like, Tommy, run, Tommy, run. And he's like, I can't move. Like, he was moving, but he wasn't. It was like he was on a treadmill. He was running in place. And then all of a sudden, poof, he was gone. And I think it was like 15 minutes later or something like that, he was back on the ground, and he was in a hold, and then the light disappeared, and then he was back, and it was like he disappeared for that amount of time. And the woman had a similar experience, except for where she was with her parents, I think her brother and sister, in the car. She ended up somewhere totally different, like at some lake somewhere. I'll have to look up all the names and stuff because I've only seen it once. And it's really interesting. And there is so much in New England and the Lake Champlain area in particular, as I'm sure you know, of UFO sightings, Bigfoot sightings, and Champ sightings. And also giant snake-like sightings as well. So we've got a lot of strange stuff around here.
Oh yes, and that story, I love that UFO story that you were mentioning, because you know what it actually reminds me of, what I used to watch with my dad when he was still alive. The infamous movie, as I may say, Fire in the Sky, which everybody.
Oh yeah, that always creeped me the hell out. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, as much as that film may be fake with some of the information of what really considered happened, you got to remember it's made by Hollywood, basically. So of course they're gonna dramatize it a little bit.
And that's the way TV is. I work with TV, and I know.
See,
I've
she
had some
knows.
times where it's like, oh, we're going to do this. And I'm like, no, we're not doing that. 'Cause if you do that, I'm not part of the show. It's not going to happen.
Oh man, I could only imagine how many shows if you ever had to back out of any because they actually tried to do that or something, or did do it. But
Well, luckily I've never really had to back out. I did have one production company that got a hold of me, and they were like extremely rude. Like,
wow,
and it's funny because I've dealt with so many of them, but they were just like, well, we're gonna basically what they were trying to say was they're gonna ridicule everything about Champ, and I'm like, okay,
wow,
there's nothing wrong with skepticism because I admire that because I do the best that I can in my studies to be as scientific as possible. And, being a skeptic is fine, but there's a difference. Being a jerk and being rude from being a skeptic and saying, hey, I really don't believe this because I've never seen it myself. That's cool, man. Like, I totally understand that. And I respect and I love it because there's been so many people that I've met since I've started doing this study that are just like, oh, I don't believe it. This is baloney. This is crap. And I'm just like, okay, no problem. And then later on, I see them again, and they're like, I've had it happen twice. Oh, I was out on my boat, and I saw this head and neck come up, and I can't believe what the hell. And they're bowing their head down, like this one girl that came to my event last year. I remember she used to pick on me bad. And like she came up, she was like kind of rude at first. She's like, "Oh, I don't believe it because I fished the lake." And I'm like, "Hey, I'm like the female Jeremy Wade. I fish the lake all the time, and I catch some really big fish. I've been fishing my whole life." And I'm like, "I totally get what you're saying." And she's like, "Well, I never seen anything, and it's probably just a sturgeon and all this stuff." And I'm like, "Well, I'm sure there's like a lot of sightings that are sturgeon because sturgeon are very freaky looking fish. They're prehistoric, and obviously, they go back millions of years. They've been here for a very long time. And people could definitely confuse a sturgeon breaking the surface for Champ. I mean, I no doubt about it. So when I saw her last year, I saw the year before, and then I saw her. She came to my event, and I remember seeing her. And she's sitting in the lawn chair, just hanging out. And she looks over to me, and she's like, I saw something last month, and I'm like, I didn't really remember that she was the one who was being kind of a jerk. And she looks at me and she goes, I really want to apologize. She like almost started crying, and I'm like, what do you mean? She's a very, very rough around the edges kind of girl. And
mm-hmm.
she's like, I just want to apologize. I'm like, for what? She's like, I saw something, and I was in my boat, and on the fish finder, this big, big thing came up on the fish finder, and she was literally like crying. I'm like, you don't have to cry about it. I'm like, that's really cool. She was, no, I'm crying because I feel so bad because I was such a jerk to you. I said, oh, wait a minute, you're the one who said that. I remember you. And she like put her head down like an ostrich burying its head in the sand. She was so embarrassed. I gave her a big hug. I said, oh my God, that's so cool that you saw something. I'm so happy. And that's happened to me quite a few times since I've done this study. So it's not my job, and it's not my purpose or my goal to
Mm-hmm.
turn people into believers. I always say seeing is believing.
Oh,
And I totally respect anybody who doesn't believe, as long as they're, not rude about it and they're not,
oh my
because,
God,
that's
yeah.
it.
And that's funny. Everything that you just said about the skepticism is exactly what I am. Like, I believe the whole seeing is believing. I have not had my own sighting, even though I like. So the way I tell people is I'm like 60-40. Like 60 of me truly believed it, but that other 40% is like that's what I need. Like I need either my own sighting or just enough proof to make me go, yes, yes, like this is it. Like, like there is absolutely something. But like what I tell people too is with like alligators and crocodiles, if they've been around since the dinosaurs, why can't something like Champ be around? For sure. And like it's just you never really know what the world really has out there until you actually see it firsthand.
Yeah, you really don't. And the thing with Lake Champlain, the most amazing thing is that we have three species of fish here that go back 100 million years. We have the bowfin, the gar, and the sturgeon. And you always hear about the sturgeon because that's the one everybody says Champ's a sturgeon. But when you see the head and neck come out of the water, which is a very rare occurrence, and I did have that happen to me once, unfortunately, and I don't give a crap if anybody believes me or not. I didn't. My camera was there, but I couldn't zoom in. I should have still. You know what's really weird? That video that I did get that was really blurry. It was just like 2 seconds of what I was seeing, and I got so ticked off that I threw the camera on the floor of the car. And you know what's really weird? I went back and found at my ex-boyfriend's house. I found the camcorder I was using. I never found the tape. Maybe he swiped it. I have no clue. I never found the tape with it on there. I mean, you could probably enhance it. That's the thing. Like, I could try. But I don't know what happened to it. But needless to say, I had gotten a video in 2014 of a champ animal going across Button Bay. Now, this is what I do in the scientific term. So what I do every spring, because over the winter time, my camera skills get a little bit rusty because I'm not out there practicing with the camera. When something pops up in the lake, what I try to do, like with ducks, for instance, or a boat, like a moving target, I try to get really fast with the camera. So I'll have it on the tripod. I'll watch like a duck go by, and I'll turn it on real quick and zoom in real quick and try to like master that quick response because they come up so fast that it's not like they're going to sit there and go, okay, come off Mr. DeVille from my close-up, They're not going to sit there and be like, hey, here, take some video of me. I look really good, So you have to be really, really fast with the camera. So that's what I do with the ducks and stuff and with the boats, like a boat going 45. I'll see the boat, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to practice. So, like, I'll turn on the camera real quick, and I'll zoom in because it doesn't always work that way. You can't always zoom in that fast because sometimes your focus will get thrown off. So I've learned how to work the camera, so to speak, and I just got a new Nikon, so I'm still kind of learning that. I've got it down pretty pat now. So yeah, now that I have a 60, what the hell is 80 zoom camera, 80 zoom telescope. It's a telescopic lens, not like one of those huge lenses. It goes basically, how do you put it? It's not like one of those huge lenses, and I don't get one of those because who the heck wants to carry that around? They're so heavy.
Yeah.
So this one is like, it's got 80 zoom. It zooms across the other side of the lake. I wish I had it that day that I had the head and neck encounter. But I did get a video in 2014 of the bat coming up. It was featured on Strange Evidence on the Science Channel. And it was analyzed by video analysts and stuff, and they said, oh, it's authentic, like we've never seen anything like it before. So it's really great to take your data and put it in front of, scientists are the biggest skeptics, of course, because they have to cover the behind. They don't want to be out there saying, oh, there's like a monster in the lake, and the misconception, and this is what I try to tell a lot of people, Champ is not a 100-foot-long monster. And there's not just one. There has to be a population of these animals to be thriving in a lake for as long as they've been seen. They've been seen since the Native Americans. The Abenaki and the Iroquois call them the horned serpents. So they've been around for, since the bowfin, the gar, and the sturgeon, prehistoric times. And what makes Champ seem like a chump is the whole elaboration of being this huge thing that's going to eat people. And, that's why, there's a lot of depictions and silly little things in cartoons, which it's all fun, it's good to have fun. But I try to represent the real science behind the true identity of Champ and the true sightings of amazing people that are extremely intelligent. I mean, you're talking lawyers, teachers, policemen, people that are prominent in their community that are not nutcases that are seeing something in this lake. So going by that, unfortunately, there's people out there that don't know the history of the sightings. They don't know the science behind the sightings. And they're just like, oh, it's baloney. But it's like, okay, well, why don't you go out there and get video, or why don't you go out there and get an echolocation recording? I mean, science does not lie. And the data that I've collected, as well as Elizabeth von Muggenthaler, who was here, that she worked for the Discovery Channel, and she also worked for Monster Quest, which my friend Doug Hychek is a producer of that. Not anymore. That show's not on TV, but I'm sure you're well aware of Monster Quest that was on.
Oh yeah, yeah. Just like what were they called? River monsters, kind of like similar to that in a way.
Yeah, yeah, yep. So I mean, science doesn't lie, and that's the most amazing part about the study of Champ. People will just like say, "Oh, I want to sit there and see if I see this huge whale size of a thing." And it's like, and then they're there for like 2 hours. Well, I don't believe in it because like I was here 2 hours and I didn't see anything. You know how many damn hours I had to put in to have an experience and to get them on the sonar and to get the echolocation. I mean, it got to the point where I would get like heat stroke. I almost ended up in the hospital 3 times because the peak season is the summer and when it's really hot, and I put in so many hours, but I'm so thankful that I did, and I stuck to my passion and what I love, because if I gave up, I wouldn't have gotten that.
Exactly, and kind of like what I said at the beginning. Like I first saw your stuff for Small Town Monster, which like I said, I think it was like 2016. It sounds right to me, but I could be wrong. But even on there, it was like they were describing what you were doing with what you were saying. You had the camera on the tripod. You were trying to like aim at the wake and this and that. Like I forget exactly because it's been like a while since I've actually watched that on the Trail of Champ. But like just everything that it was mentioning about what you were doing, I thought was really neat and fascinating, and it was like really weird that I never even heard of you until then. And so I guess real quick is how long have you even been doing this whole like Champ search?
Well, it basically started like I said, I did the armchair, which is like what most people do in cryptozoology. They sit on their butt with a sippy cup and they don't go out in the field, which is fine. I call it an archivist. It's a little bit different than a field researcher, which the archive stuff is awesome because you're keeping the news and the stories alive and the eyewitness reports alive. But then I got up here in 2012, and that was when I was part of the paranormal team that was called Oracle Paranormal in the state of Rhode Island, where I grew up. And I remember telling my friends, I'm like, listen, we got to get up to Lake Champlain, because at the time when I was watching the Unsolved Mysteries episode, I begged my mom to bring me up to the lake, and she's like, well, how far away is it? And I'm like, oh, I don't know. So I took out the old Rand McNally map before GPS, and I said, probably like 4 or 5 hours. And she's like, oh, we'll go sometime. Well, guess what? Sometime didn't come. So all those years later, I said, we need a damn vacation. And I've always wanted to go to Lake Champlain. So we finally got up here, and it was August 2012. And I remember getting out of the car, and I just felt like I was home. It was the weirdest feeling. It was almost like I had been here before. I got another story about that too in relation, but it was just the weirdest thing. I literally cried. Like I cried happy because I just felt like this magnetism around me and stuff, and I just knew it was like, this is my place to be. So that day, we just kind of hung out, kept watch, and nothing happened. And the next day, we got up, and I think it was like around 11:30 in the morning. And my friends that were with me, they did paranormal stuff, but they also, a couple of them did Bigfoot research. So all they kept talking about was like, we're going to go look for Bigfoot in Whitehall and all this stuff. And I'm like, look, I love Bigfoot, but we're here for Champ, so get used to it. And so I was sitting there eating my breakfast. I love to cook, so I'm on the campfire making food, and I went and sat on the bench, and my ex at the time was there with me, and we were looking out at Button Bay. And there's been a lot of sightings at Button Bay. That's actually where I got my 2014 video, which was 2 years later. And the animal is going the same direction, doing the same damn thing as my first sighting, which I find really, really fascinating. But I'll talk about that theory later. So we were looking out, and I saw some turbulence in the water, and I looked at him, and I'm like, what the hell is that? And I'm like, maybe it's some fish. Because I grew up in Rhode Island on the water. And I'm familiar with boat wakes. I'm familiar with all kinds of, whales and dolphins and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden this big hump came to the surface of the water. I'm like, what the hell is that? It's like a big otter or something. And I remember it started doing this vertical undulation, and it started crawling at a very fast speed. And kind of like, it almost looked like it was having like a seizure. It was like, it was the weirdest thing. It was like convulsing. Like the skin was like convulsing. You could see it. And it was crawling off towards Button Island, which if you look on the map, you'll be able to see where Button Island is. It was on the left of the bay. And my boyfriend at the time was looking at me like, he goes, what the hell is that? I'm like, I don't know. Like, I didn't expect to see anything. It was my second day there. That's something that's, like, unheard of. I mean, there's people that have been on this lake their whole life and haven't seen anything. So I was just like, this is crazy. I kind of relate it to my empathic nature and my paranormal stuff, and I'll talk about that too. But I ran to the car to get my camera. When I was coming back, it submerged and it was gone, and I was so mad. I was so mad because I expected to see a head and neck. So I still kept doubting what I saw. But then I'm looking at a sailboat that's moored in the background, and that was 20 feet long. And this object that was eminent, it was definitely a living thing. It was almost as big as that sailboat. So I said, Jesus, like using that for scale size, I'm like, that's not an otter. It's not a log. It's not a sturgeon, because sturgeon cannot move in vertical undulation. So that was just like the coolest thing. I was like, wow. So that's what got me started. And I really truly believe, like how you said, it's a small world. I really truly believe that things happen for a reason, and you get called into something that you would never even believe that you'd be called into. I really think it was my life calling at that point.
Oh, I mean, I completely can vouch that too. Like, when you start getting that weird feeling, like you put in it, like you feel at home, like you've been here before. Once you get that feeling, you just need to keep going with it. You don't want to lose that feeling, and it's just. And there's so much that you've mentioned that I want to tackle, so I'm gonna try to do my best. So the first thing that you mentioned is like that footage that you caught in 2014, which you still had like the tape and stuff. You could always enhance it. I mean, look at the Patty film for Bigfoot. People have enhanced that, and look how interesting that is enhanced. And you can actually, it looks like you can see more of detail, just I may say, like more than like what you could actually see in the original. So it's really fascinating to see enhanced stuff if you can get it done, obviously. But
yeah, because like when it was on the Science Channel and stuff, they did an enhancement on it. Like, you don't really see it much on the program, but they did do an enhancement on it, and I've kind of played around with it a little bit, because the camera that I had at the time was my research partner at the time, Dennis Hall. He was into Champ forever. He doesn't really do much anymore. But he was my research partner at the time, and he had this like dinosaur, as old as Champ, of a camera with him. because the camera that I had, it didn't zoom in very good, and it was just like crap. Like, it wasn't working. I had all kinds of issues. Technology is not always good. It's not always good. So at that time, we had his camera, and I remember that day it was the blood moon, and it's so weird because I tried to look it up. I tried to look it up online that date, and like I still can't find that there was a blood moon that year, which is really weird. It was August 9th, 2014. So I'm like, what the hell? Like, I wasn't imagining things because, like, we looked up and it was on the news. It said it was a blood moon. So I wonder if the moon had something to do with the sighting, because I do believe, and this is scientific too, a lot of animals are affected by the moon, and so are people. When they say people are crazy and they're affected by the full moon, animals and the tides in the ocean, and there's so many things in nature and fish as well. Because with my fishing, my angling skills and stuff, I know that the moon does affect the fish activity. And to me, when these animals come up, they're going up to feed after the fish. I honestly believe if they weren't going up to feed, we probably would not have sightings. It seems to be between 7, well, the best time, I think, is between 7 and 8:30 p.m. in the summer. Between June and September, I believe July and August are the best months because the water is at a peak temperature, and I believe these animals are ectothermic. Ectothermic means that they have to sustain the outside temperature to, they have to absorb, absorb the outside temperature to sustain their inner core temperature. So you're talking alligators, crocodiles, also amphibians as well, frogs, newts, those sort of animals. So I believe that they're cold-blooded because in the wintertime, the sightings pretty much go away. And I think that these animals are going into a torpor-like state. And at that point, they're basically just laying there on the bottom or moving very slowly, and they're not eating at that point because they're in this torpor. They don't have that hunger to eat. They're basically storing all the food that they can get in the fall. And there's like a lot of sightings at the end of September into October near the marsh systems around Lake Champlain. So I think what's going on is they're storing up there. It's like a champ buffet. They're like, okay, I'm going to get as much as I can to sustain for the winter. And then once the water reaches 50 degrees Fahrenheit, and also the turtles and the frogs are starting to come out now. The water temperature right now, I believe, is about 43.5 degrees Fahrenheit. So things are starting to turn now, and this is the time where the sightings start coming out, especially in the marsh systems, which is something that nobody really talks about with Champ, except for me, because I've talked to a lot of locals who have had experiences in the marsh of seeing eye shine at nighttime in particular. And eye shine is called tapetum lucidum, which comes from the Latin word, and it's basically Latin, and it means bright carpet in English terms. So the tapetum lucidum usually indicates mainly a carnivore. I believe these animals mostly eat fish, but they're going into the marsh for a reason. So with the shallow areas, there's small fish, there's turtles, there's frogs, and there's also vegetation. And with the American alligator, for an example, even though they're aggressive, I don't believe that Champ is aggressive at all, because we'd have a lot of missing people on the lake. There's a lot of reports of them in the marsh, like I said, at nighttime, and those places are really shallow. There's a whole abundance of food, and like I said, vegetation. Now with the American alligator, there's been studies where they have cut them open and found vegetation and also fruit in their stomach, which is very strange. Something you don't hear about. But I believe that they're opportunistic feeders. Nature has a way. When you're dealing with an antediluvian species like Champ that goes back as far as they go, they had to do what they had to do to survive. And that's why they are so resilient, and that's why they're here still today.
Wow. Yeah, that and I just learned a lot from that too, because there really, like you just said, there nobody really talks about specific things, and it's kind of uh sparks the question of why. Why isn't people talking about this? It's like if it can give us either more data or some sort of new story to help tie in or make a connection to something that we've heard in the past. It's just there's so many questions we can definitely ask, but then when it all comes down to having people step up and basically just telling us what they've seen, what they know, what they've even heard, it just adds to the, if I may say, the notebook. So that way, when we really go back with other eyewitnesses, how many people say the same thing over and over again, and which one actually
Yeah.
yeah, and which ones actually show up the most, whether it being like the three humps, because it seems like three humps are always the common trope, as I may say, on the lake, that they see more than just the neck and head coming out of the water.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, it's, honestly, in my opinion, the problem is fear of ridicule. I mean, people are just
Oh
so
yeah.
afraid of ridicule. They don't
No.
want to say, like, I saw this head and neck come out, which is, like I said, a very rare occurrence. I don't really think it's that easy for them to do that. Like, when I saw that animal pick up its head and neck, I cried like a baby. And, like, if I ever meet you in person, I'll tell you the story again in person. You're going to see it in my eyes. You're going to be like, holy crap, like, she's not making this stuff up. Like, I'm just not. And I'm a straight shooter. I'm very blunt. Sometimes people don't like that about me. Like, I just tell the way it is. Like, I'm just
Me
like,
too. Me too.
I don't sugarcoat anything. If I saw something, I'm just going to tell you the way I saw it. Or if someone did something that makes me upset, I'm like, hey, you know what? I like you, but you did this. And people don't like to deal with that. They don't like to deal with the truth. They don't like to deal with that. And that's the thing, like, as an investigator of this phenomenon and using science behind it, like I said, my goal is to present Champ to the community with the science that's behind it, and also the protection aspect. That's the biggest thing to me, because obviously these animals are not in every lake around the world. There's many lakes around the world with similar reports. You've got Nessie of Loch Ness. You have Ogopogo in British Columbia. You have Selma in Norway. Over in Ireland, they call them the horse eels, and they describe them as very serpentine-like Champ with the horn-like protuberances on top of the head, very similar. So there's so many around the world, but no one really thinks of the aspect of protection, because in my opinion, if these animals are here and they've survived this long, there's definitely a population of them, because there's many sightings of 2 to 4 at one time, which could actually make people think they're actually seeing this 100-foot long monster, but it's more than one behind the other. So, using that as an example, it's just so important to me for the protection of the species, because obviously they're not in every lake, like I said. And there's people, I've got newspaper reports of people trying to shoot a Champ. One lady thought that a sturgeon was Champ, and she shot the freaking thing, and then like 3 days later it floated up in Westport, New York, and it was like a little old grandma. She was like 78, and she shot this sturgeon, and they're endangered too. So she didn't help that. She didn't help that aspect at all.
No, and just to cut in real quick, not to really interrupt you, but I've actually heard that story where exactly how you put it. This person thought it was Champ. they killed it or whatever. Like, depending on who you talk to, you hear different stories. But we can get into that too about that stupid community, as I may say. But anyway, so yeah, that's like body washed up, and it was just like, oh my god, it just champ. Like it was just like, oh no, like it's like, well, us humans are good at that. We're good at hating something or freaking out about something, and what do? We make it go extinct.
Well, you know what it is? It's like I said, with the general consensus and with elaboration over the years, it's really made Champ look like a chump. It's like everybody's got these cartoons, and Champ looks stupid. And I love cartoons, and I love being a kid. I'm a kid at heart. But like once you dabble in the science of it and the truth behind it, which science is fun. Like kids adore science and like learning about the health of Lake Champlain and learning about its prehistoric past, and that's the fun part about what I do. I love teaching the younger generation, number one, to go after their dreams and not be afraid of ridicule. Because, I mean, to be honest, being a girl in the world of cryptozoology, number one, is not easy. Because it's mostly guys. I'm fortunate that I have a lot of guy friends, particularly in the UK, that are very supportive of my work. But you have people out there that are just like, oh, well, just because she's a girl and she's blonde, she can't do this. And then once I start pulling up the data and stuff, they're like, ew. And then you get like the hate stuff and the angry people, and it's just a little stupid group of people. And I'm just like, you know what? Just be happy with what you do, because the thing with Champ is it's my passion, it's what I love. And I want the younger generation, I want to pass it on to the younger generation for these kids to learn. Don't be afraid of pursuing what you want, no matter how silly or ridiculous that people think your dreams are, because you only live once. Life is very short. So go after what you want in life, and you will be blessed with good things ahead. I believe in karma. I believe in giving out the good. You're going to get good back. And I really believe in that, because I worked so hard at this study with Champ and all the science behind it, and I've been so fortunate to get results. And I'm like, I kind of look up and I'm like, why is it me? And I think it's because I've always had that positive attitude, and positive attracts positive.
Yeah, and you know what they always say too is the interest in something. Once your heart feels like you have enough interest in it and you want to pursue it, it's gonna do whatever um it can do to get you to be in that field to make you do what you love, basically. And I find that, like as you said, with karma, the positivity, when it comes to that, like as you were saying, like do exactly what you want to do. Even if it's just silly, sounds stupid, just do it, because you know what? There's gonna be like, let's just say for a reference, like 1 billion other people that might look at your stuff and go, "Oh my God, this is amazing," while the other 2 billion or whatever might just be like, "This is stupid." But yeah, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you think about Jane Goodall with her, with her research with the primates and stuff. I mean, she went through the same thing where she had ridicule and, oh, she doesn't have a science degree, so she doesn't know what she's talking about, but she went out in the field and did her own stuff, and now she's, I mean, world famous and getting all kinds of recognition. And
Hmm.
I mean, it's just one of those things where what I try to do too is I do study marine bioacoustics, which is the study of underwater sounds. So what I do is I go out, basically down in Florida. I have another property in Florida, and I go out and record dolphins and whales as well. And I do a lot of comparisons to the echolocation that I captured in 2014 and in 2000, I gotta think now, 18. I thought it was 19, it was 18. I've had quite a few recordings of echolocation in the lake. So I've done a lot of comparisons using my bioacoustics research with whales and dolphins. And I believe that going out and instead of sitting at a desk and like reading just about what to do, I believe that the boots on the ground and getting out there and doing the work and being in nature, in the element of that science, is where you're going to discover so much more than just sitting there and talking about it. I mean, that's the thing with Champ. Like, people can talk about it all they want and talk about the Mancy photo and where the Mancy photo was taken. It's like, it doesn't matter. It's old news. Like, it's old news. It's time to go on and find new stuff. Blaze that trail that nobody else has ever been on. And that's what I try to do.
And I'm gonna come in and say, and what you have gotten is, to me, amazing. Even though I might have a hard time like understanding the image as I'm looking at the image. Which, speaking of which, so let's go back to what you were saying with some people might find it to be like 100 feet long and et cetera, et cetera. But you're saying it's either 2 to 4 of them. So I guess back in 2019, you actually got like 2 sonar images, and can you just describe them to people that might not know how to read them and what is captured within the images?
Okay, so back in 2019, it was August 5th. My research partners and I were out in the boat, in our smaller boat. We got a bigger boat now. And we were on the New York side of the lake, and we were heading towards Westport, New York. And I don't tell the exact location because of the protection aspect, but we were in a certain area, and we had captured 2 champ animals on the sonar. Now, here's the thing. Being an angler on Lake Champlain and being very familiar with fish showing up on the sonar or debris on the bottom or that sort of things, I'm really, really good at distinguishing, like, shipwrecks. I actually found, my partners and I found a shipwreck over in Port Henry, New York. It was a draw boat, and I didn't know that it was already documented, but we happened to run across it, and I said to my partner, Frank, at the time, I said, Frank, there's a shipwreck down there, and he's like, holy crap, you're right, there's the railing. Well, come to find out, I looked on the Lake Champlain Maritime Museum's website. There is a drawing of the same boat that we got. So I know what I'm looking at when I'm looking at sonar. So we were headed towards Westport, and I remember my gas gauge on that boat jumps up and down. So I'm like, oh my God, and then I slow down, and it was almost empty. And I'm like, oh, Jesus, I thought there was more gas in the tank. So I'm like, oh, we're going to turn around, go back. So I turn around, and I was going pretty fast. And when I turned around, my friends Frank and Teresa start yelling, and I couldn't really hear exactly what they were saying, but because of the motor was so loud. But they're like, there's something black that just popped out of the water. And I'm like thinking to myself, you guys are crazy. Like, it's just stupid boat wake when I turned around. So I didn't believe what they said. So, like, I think it was like 2 minutes went by, and we're in this area of the lake where it's really sandy. There's no rocks on the bottom or anything like that. And we see these 2 long things. I'm like, Frank's like, what the hell are those things? I'm like, I don't know. So I took a screenshot. So you got to press 2 buttons, and there's like a certain way to take a screenshot, and it saves to a micro SD card. So I did that. And we got back to the dock, thank God, because I didn't think we were going to make it with the amount of gas we had. So it was like 90 degrees that day, and it was really hot. And I said, you know what, I'm going to go home, just recharge. I'll be back in the morning. So I went home, went to bed. I didn't even look at what we got on the sonar. We had like 56 other images on the card. So I got home, got up in the morning, get a coffee, sit out on the front porch, and I'm going through all the pictures, like, yeah. I'm like, I wonder where that weird one is. So I get to that frame, and I'm looking at it. I zoom in, and all of a sudden I just look, and I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? Because of the head and neck sighting that I told you about. I saw, the only thing I could really make out with that sighting was the rigid jawline and the horse-like head of the animal. It was like a silhouette. So I couldn't make out, like, the horn-like things on top of the head. I couldn't make out an eye because it was a long ways away. But when I saw that sonar image, I said, you got to be freaking kidding me. I kept looking at it and looking at it and looking at it. And there's one of the animals laying on the bottom with its head and neck's kind of stretched out but coiled in, almost like a piston, like pulled in. You know how an eel or like even a turtle can pull their long, actually soft-shelled turtles can do this. They can basically, like an accordion, they can suck their head in. And that generally means that an animal that can do that is an ambush predator. So they basically sit on the bottom, and when fish go by, they kind of coil that neck back for that action to lash out and grab it. So that's what this animal was like kind of doing, but it was laying on the bottom, and I'm like, oh my God, like it was the same exact thing that I saw in that head neck sighting. And then the one on the left was much bigger. I would say that animal was probably about 20 to 25 feet. The other one was about 30. It was big. And I was like, what the hell? But I was so mad because that one, you can't make out a face because you can see these two little bumps on top of that one appendage. And I think it was the back of that one's head where those horn-like protuberances are. Because the other one, you could see the horn-like protuberances, which is something that the Native Americans described. They described them as the horned serpents. Now, normal depictions of Champ, Nessie as well, they show these pointy horns like a goat, but they're not pointy. They're rounded. And I was so amazed at that. I'm like, oh my God, like that's what they were talking about. You know, you look back in time and you listen to these Native American legends, those people were just so, they were living in nature. They didn't make up stuff, you know? So that was amazing. So that sonar image was great. And then 3 weeks later, I went back to the location because there were some people that said, oh, they're just logs laying on the bottom. And I'm like, okay, whatever. So I went back to the location just to see, and those logs were gone. So that was a win-win. And then I got further down the lake a little bit, and all of a sudden, there's two anomalies. One of them is diving down. You can see the bubbles. You can see the streaks of bubbles going down, and you actually see the one in the front. It's very blurry because I mean you're going like 45 miles an hour, and they're trying to get away from the sound of the sonar because the animals that echolocate, they have extremely sensitive hearing. So the one in the front was diving down. The other one was kind of trailing in the back. That was the bigger one. But the one in the front, you could see like this bubble. It was like blowing out an air bubble to the surface of the water. So those were just, I was just like, you got to be kidding me. So I'm like, okay, look at these logs swimming. Look at these logs. It was the most amazing thing. I was so proud of that because it totally proved those weren't logs. It wasn't substrate on the bottom. They were definitely animate, and they were quite large. Not 100 feet long, but you're talking 25 to maybe 35 feet long. So those are the two sonar images that I have. And I can actually send you those so you can put them on the, and I have like a little trace outline because most people don't know what the heck they're looking at because they're not used to using sonar. So I got like a little sketch thing that I did, and that way people can decipher it. Because it's almost like, how do you call it? When you get a sonogram, you know, stuff like that. It's like, what the hell is that? But then once you know how to read that, there you go.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how to read it, but that's why, like, I'm staring at the image that you have on your website, actually. Even though it is kind of small on your website, and I kind of wish you could click on it just so it can, like, be bumped up a
Yeah, I'm
little bit.
actually updating the website to another website because the webs.com, they're not doing websites anymore. So the website will be officialchampsearch.com. But the most important thing for people to keep up with my work is to go on Facebook and put in Champ Search in the search bar, and they can check out all of my everyday research. And it's not every day right now because it's still early in the season. But I also have a book, Water Horse of Lake Champlain, The Search, which has a ton of data, ton of explanations for all the data that I have and the science behind it, and, you know, talks about, you know, all of the sightings since basically the Abenaki and the Iroquois. So it's I worked really hard on that book. I really did.
Speaking of your book, now, um, I was trying to search for it, and I've noticed like the first one, Water Horse of Lake Champlain, seems to be out of print. However, I
Yeah,
can
yeah.
find,
I'm
yeah.
working on revising that one. The second one, I don't know if it's still on there or not. But the third one, it was on Amazon for like 2 days, and then I realized that the person that formatted it for me messed up on it, so I had to take it off. So I'm going to basically, in the next 2 months, I'm going to have all of my books all redone. Not the second one so much, but the first one and the new one on Amazon. So it's been, like I said, I have a lot going on. So I basically, if someone wants to order the book, I will send you the book, by the way. They can go to my Facebook page, Champ Search, and they can send me a message. And I have autographed copies here if they want a copy of that.
Oh, that sounds awesome. Yeah, I would love to read it because, like I was, if not, I'll put it on the record. But yeah, I love to collect stuff that's about Vermont or New York, like anything that's about like the paranormal, the unknown, the cryptology. I just love to learn more because, like I told you, I have that 60/40 of the skeptical to believe in thing. So it's like the more I absorb, the more I feel like that 60/40 might soon be like 80/20, you know?
Totally. And then another thing I wanted to mention too is that this summer we have an event going on. We did last year as well. And I know that like sometimes like, different events like mention Champ and stuff, but it's usually kind of like the sideshow carnival kind of fun thing, which, our event's fun, and there's a lot of cool stuff. We have a Champ Hippity Hop race that's going to go on with prizes and trophies and stuff for the kids. But we're going to have an event going on over in Port Henry, New York, Champ Fest 2022. And it's with, actually, we were fortunate enough to have a special guest this year, which is Frenchie Crochet from Swamp People on the History Channel.
Oh, wow.
So we're going to have him there signing autographs and photos, and everybody can take a selfie with him and stuff. And I'm going to be doing a book signing with the new book, Water Horse of Lake Champlain, The Search. And I'm holding this event basically for the community. Port Henry's kind of a unthriving town, unfortunately. A lot of great people. And I've always tried to bring a lot of business to the town because I really believe in the area and the marketing of Champ. I believe the science, and kids love science and learning, and I think that's the future of keeping, the whole thing with Champ alive. And also, just having fun and being out on the lake. And the biggest thing about the young generation is that they are stewards for the health of Lake Champlain. And I'm sure we have a big problem with sewage getting into Lake Champlain.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of that going on, and I just want to bring awareness to the health of the lake, because without the health of the lake, that's our drinking water, and that's the health of these animals thriving in the lake as well, and that's our tourism. People come from all over the place to swim in Lake Champlain and boat on Lake Champlain. Eventually, it's going to get to the point with all the sewage getting in. Who the heck wants to come here?
Exactly.
It's just the way it is, So this event, we're holding it in memory of my friend and former Champ researcher Frank Horton, who passed away in November. He was also a Champ eyewitness, and he was in the Small Town Monsters episode about when he had a sighting on the beach of a Champ animal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was my friend Frank. We were very close, and unfortunately, he passed away this past November, and he basically just had a heart attack, and he had a 95% heart blockage.
Oof.
And I don't know how he even walked around. Like, he was good for, like, in August, we were out in the boat. we were doing all kinds of stuff, but he kept telling me, I don't feel right, Katy, I don't feel right. And we just didn't know, and he dropped on the floor, and they tried to revive him for 45 minutes, and just didn't happen. So,
wow.
Unfortunately, and I've had a really hard time trying not to cry, dealing with that loss. You just never know. Life's too short. You just never know when it can just be taken away from you in 1 second, you know. So, yeah, we're going to hold this in honor of him. And, you know, he did mention before he passed away, you better do Champ Fest this year or I'll kick your ass. That's what he told me. And and I also, because he actually had leukemia, which he was in remission, that didn't have to do with his passing, but I'm doing this also with some of the proceeds going towards St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, too. So there's going to be free food, free admission, and free live entertainment by the R.J. Walker Show, which is a good friend of ours, really, really great singer and really great musician. So it's going to be a really fun event for, you know, young and old alike. I think it'll be great. And I'm also doing, like, tours of the research vessel and showing the public the equipment that we use in the search for Champ as well. We have an ROV that goes down 350 feet down. We have all kinds of hydrophones, underwater cameras, additional ones besides the ROV. We have night vision binoculars for at nighttime when we go out in the marsh systems. And it's just, there's a whole bunch of stuff to see, and I'm really looking forward to meeting new people that are really interested in the scientific aspect and also the health of Lake Champlain and the protection for the champ animals, too.
That's extremely sad about your friend, too. May he rest in peace, too. And,
thank you.
Yeah, you know, my dad had, like, cancer back in the day, back in 95, I want to say, and he beat it, but, like, I just remember he had to have a feeding tube and this and that, and, yeah, it was just terrible. And then in 95, I ended up losing my grandfather and one of my uncles, like 24 hours, like, from each other, basically. So one passed first, and then the next day the other one went. It was the most bizarre thing I've ever, you know, had to go through, for sure. And then, like, in 2013, I lost my father, and it's just like, you know, certain people's death just really make a difference in you, as I may say, and, like, you really do try to figure out the best way of how to keep their memory going, and in this case, it would be, like you said, your champ day and your champ fest, just going just because, you know, that's what he wanted you to do.
Yeah, totally. I mean, he was always the type. He was number one a ball buster. He loved to have fun. He loved to laugh. I mean, we would sing on the boat. We'd yell, "Puff and Elsie, get your ass up here!" Like because I named the two on the sonar Puff and Elsie, so we'd always yell Puff and Elsie. And yeah, he really wanted me to continue the research and to do the Champ Fest thing. And the date for that is Saturday. It's on Saturday, August 6th, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And it's going to be in Port Henry, 4388 Main Street, on the corner of Dock Lane. So Dock Lane goes right to the public boat launch that's right there in Port Henry. So we'll be right on the corner there, and it's going to be a good time. And I know Frank will be shining down and saying, "Yay, I'm excited." So
he'll be there in spirit.
Yeah, for sure. And for anybody that's interested in the event, I'll have Champ gifts, souvenirs, which I've been doing that since 2014, selling the Champ memorabilia. And anything that I sell, it doesn't just go in my pocket. You know, a lot of people say, "Oh, you could really make a lot of money, and, like, it's a big cash cow." And I'm like, how? Look at the boat I got in the backyard. Look at the equipment I spend my money on. I don't make anything. Like, everything goes back into that boat, and back into the research equipment, which goes into the protection of Champ. It's the whole. It's like a big circle, you know. So it's not just like I do it for the money or anything like that. It helps support the research, because otherwise it's like, holy crap, it's a big expense. It really is. It's not like looking for Bigfoot. You're on land and it's more simple. You can go out in the woods when you want to, and especially with gas prices up, it costs a lot for the boat, to run the boat. And I'll be doing tours this year as well, water horse tours. I'll have the information on my Champ Search Facebook page too. I've got a lot going on.
Real quick, Katie. Sorry, but like, so what's this water horse tour? Like, what do you mean? Like, are you bringing people like on a boat or something?
Yeah, basically what I'm going to be doing is basically the peak times for Champ sightings is July and August, so I'll be taking people out on tours to look for Champ, to learn how to use the research equipment, and there's no guarantee, and I put that in the form, there's no guarantee that you're going to have a Champ experience, but I get to show people how to use the equipment, the scientific protocol, and then we have lunch and hors d'oeuvres and that sort of thing, and there's a great view of the Adirondack Mountains, and I do a little bit of a tour about the history of all the places that we go to. One of the places is Barbers Point Lighthouse, Arnold's Bay, which is where Benedict Arnold burnt his ship, and there was like a bunch of men floating in Arnold's Bay, and I believe that place is haunted, like I really do. So there's like a whole tour. Yeah, there's a whole tour that I'm going to be doing for people that are interested in the history and also the scientific protocol as far as Champ. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So that's another thing on the list for this summer.
This already sounds amazing. Like, just the fact that you can learn how to use that like equipment is like a whole new ball game for me. I'm like, because I like to learn new things, and like, I'm this type of people.
Well, you're more than welcome to come out on the boat this summer. Just let me know when you're free, and we'll take you out. That would be fun.
That would be great. Yeah, that would be great. I'll have to definitely see like what my schedule is planned, because I know me and a couple friends of mine are trying to finish up a short horror film that we are trying to do. Thanks to COVID, that pushed it for a couple years, but yeah.
Oh yeah, it's been absolutely terrible with the COVID thing. I mean, there was real quick, there was a show that I filmed for the CW. It's called Mysteries Decoded, and we filmed. I wasn't supposed to say the name, but I did, because it's been too long. We filmed back in, when the hell was it? Not last August. Might have been the August before. But it was in the middle of COVID. And they didn't even air the freaking thing, and I'm waiting and waiting and waiting, and finally they're like, oh, it's going to come out July this year. I'm like, thank God, because it took forever. And, like, I totally get the COVID thing, but, like, people were working remote, so, like, why couldn't they just edit the material at home?
That's a good question. Yeah, everybody was starting to, bring.
Everybody was working remotely. Even the vice president, she's got COVID and she's working from home. So what the hell,
Yeah, why can't we all do this? What the hell? I want my refund back. Wait, what? No, but in all seriousness, though, like, yeah, we wanted to originally put out 2 short horror films in 2020, but because the person that we had doing the special effects and practical effects for like our monster, she wasn't really prepared yet. So just like, well, maybe next year then. And then next year came, and it was just like, well, COVID kind of sucks right now, and I don't feel like risking anything, so let's just push it because I just don't feel comfortable. And then now it's just like, all right, now I really just want to get this done.
Yeah, it really makes things drag. It's like, oh gosh, when the heck is this going to happen? And that's why I was like so surprised with the show that I did. I'm like, oh sure, it'll be out in like 4 months. And I waited and waited. Finally, I called the studio. I'm like, when the heck is this show going to come out? They're like, we don't know because of COVID. I'm like, oh. So finally, I still don't know what episode or what date that it's going
no.
to air, but at least we got a little bit of a promising date of July, so we'll see.
For sure. Now, Katie, I know this conversation has gone like everywhere and everything, really, and I'm trying to think like, is there anything that I really have not asked you that you feel like we should like touch on?
Let me think here. Hmm.
I mean, I guess is there any other evidence that you could like kind of give us as a juicy detail? Actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, you kind of mentioned something earlier where you went to Florida to do the sound in the water thing. I'm sorry, I can't remember the word
That's
that you
okay.
said.
It's a long word. Bioacoustics.
Bioacoustic. Yeah, didn't you sort of capture something on Lake Champlain?
Yeah, I did. Back in 2014, we captured echolocation. It was around 7, I think it was like 7:30 p.m., and it was really amazing because I didn't expect to really get anything. I mean, I never do. I never, because you just never know. You're dealing with a 120-mile long lake. You don't know where these animals are going to be. I believe there's different groups of them. I believe that they move in pairs. I think Puff and Elsie that I named, I believe that they're a breeding pair. One smaller than the other. Mostly indicates male and female. I'm not quite sure, but I don't know if the bigger one's a male, because usually the bigger one's a male, the smaller one's a female. But sometimes with reptiles, it's the opposite, so I'm not quite sure. But, yeah, back in 2014, we captured echolocation, and it was crazy because we were on the boat, and I thought maybe it was the bimini top strap because, like, there was a slight breeze, and the bimini top strap was kind of, like, vibrating. So I was like, oh, okay, maybe that's what the noise was. But the whole time we're out there, we didn't hear anything. And then all of a sudden, we hear, and then click, 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 click. Which is echolocation. I'm like, what the hell? And I'm like, I'm just trying to figure out, like, if there's any boats around, if it was any type of sonar, fish finder making that noise. And normally fish finders will make a tick, 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 constant pattern, like a clock. They'll make a ticking noise. There's different species of fish in Lake Champlain that make multiple sounds. We have the drum fish, and they make like a groaning, like a like that. It was almost like a croaking sound. And then you have the sturgeon, which make a sound called sturgeon thunder. It almost sounds like thunder. It's like a crackling, crack, crack, crack. It's weird. So there's like so many different things that can make sounds underwater, and that did not match anything that what we were hearing. So I went to the Mystic Aquarium at the time, and I'm thinking to myself, well, beluga whales used to be present here in the Champlain Sea 10 to 12,000 years ago. This is before Lake Champlain formed, when this was once an arm of the sea. So when I went to the aquarium, excuse me, my allergies are so bad today, all the stuff budding on the trees. When I went to the aquarium, I said, well, I'm going to try to record these beluga whales and see what type of sounds or echolocation I can get, because they were present here during the Champlain Sea. So when I got to the aquarium, they're tough at the aquarium. Like, they don't just let anybody record the whales or put like a hydrophone in the tank. So I said, you know what, I'm going to put it up to the glass, and like they're not even going to notice, because my hydrophone system is really tiny. It's like handheld. So I had it in my purse, and I had a pair of earbuds, and I'm sitting down, and it was like this little bit of a cave-type thing on the side of the aquarium outside. And it was November, so it was really cold. My butt was so cold, like sitting on that pavement. So I had the microphone up to the glass, and I recorded all kinds. I'll send you that video. It's really, really cool. And matter of fact, you can probably put it into this podcast video so people can hear it. But you can hear like all the strange noises that they make, and they call them the sea canaries because they sound like birds underwater. They have a lot of high frequency, high pitch sounds. So then all of a sudden I hear this. It was like almost the same damn thing that I got in the lake. And then I got thinking, like, or a lot of people have asked me, do you believe that Champ is a cetacean, a whale, like a beluga whale? And the thing with cetaceans and all the research that I've done with the bioacoustics and going out and actually doing some training with dolphins down in the Florida Keys, dolphins and whales, cetaceans have to come up to breathe air all the time. So if these animals were cetaceans, you'd be seeing them all the time. And they would be more social. They're extremely social, especially dolphins. They come right up to you. There's been times where people have fallen off their boat and they're drowning, and a dolphin will push them up to the surface. They're extremely intelligent animals. So I don't believe that the champ species, is cetacean. But I do believe that once they were introduced to each other during the Champlain Sea, so say champ, hypothetically, is like a reptile or amphibian or a strange hybrid of both, and they got introduced to the beluga whale because they shared the area with them, I believe that they could mimic the beluga whale, because beluga whales can mimic anything. Like there's been cases of people being next to the aquarium cleaning and they're singing, and the beluga whales start singing the same damn thing. So that's how advanced their brain is. So I believe that champ, because they shared the same area, they had the same intelligence of the beluga whale, and they could mimic the sounds and the echolocation that they were doing, because they actually probably had to compete for food at the same time. So they were probably picking that same echolocation up. And we don't know if ancient reptiles could echolocate. We have no idea. But I believe that's something that whatever champ is, they're not in our known fossil record. They're not a plesiosaur. They look very much like one, except for they have basically four toes, webbed feet. There's been a lot of prints in the marsh systems that have been found of that, very much like an American alligator. So the big flipper thing, I like. It's a very romantic thing to think of a plesiosaur, which they do look like, according to the sonar images. But the reports of them running across the road with great speed, it's kind of hard when you got really big flippers and a really fat belly. It's like flop, 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 you know. So morphologically, which means the shape of the body, they're streamlined, they can swim extremely fast, and once they hear that sonar going off in your boat, they're gone. The reason why I got them twice, I was going fast. You got to go fast, because, I mean, I've had time by just creeping along with the sonar. They got plenty of time to get away, because they can hear it for miles. But I think that first time and that second time, they're just like, holy crap. So the first time they dove to the bottom, they're like, uh-oh, there she goes. The second time, they were just trying to flee, and then you can see the one in the front diving down with the streams of bubbles going down. So they've got really great hearing, and I think that's why they've been so elusive for so many years. They have such a resilience and such a part of nature, and that's why they're still here.
Well, I appreciate that. That's I like all the details there, and that kind of makes me wonder. Then, so if they're not a plesiosaur, you're saying they're like what type of animal? I'm sorry.
Well, I believe whatever they are, they're not an unknown fossil record, because looking at the sonar images and compiling all the reports of like the webbed feet, the long neck, the long elongate body, which you can see in both sonar images, it's weird because there's nothing in our fossil record that matches them exactly. I mean, you have the Tanystropheus, which is one marine reptile from the Triassic. They're very similar to that, but they also have like a thicker and shorter neck than that. They have a longer neck than a plesiosaur, but their midsection is longer than the Tanystropheus and more streamlined than the plesiosaur. So it's like, what the heck are they? To me, whatever they are, there's something that's, I'm sure if we dug down enough, we'd find one. Like, that's the thing. Here in Vermont, and you can look this up, Vermont, there's no record of any dinosaur ever being found, any type of dinosaur fossil. That makes you wonder.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does.
So
and
there's probably a lot of stuff, like, way down. There could be hundreds of them, like, buried in the marsh. Like, we would never even know it. We wouldn't even know it. I mean, they could be the type where, like, sea turtles, they know when they're going to die, and they'll go into, like, caves and die in the caves, or, like, or bury themselves. I mean, they could do the same thing. A lot of animals, they know when they're dying, and they go off and take off.
Yep.
So maybe that's why we've never found a body. That's my opinion, anyway.
Hey, that's a good opinion. I mean, there's no wrong or right answer on that. So, I guess, Katie, real quick to just kind of, I guess, sort of help wrap this up is like, you sort of kind of gave your take on like what you think Champ is. Now, I guess what is the like what the next piece of evidence that you would just love to capture? I'm assuming it would be maybe like the neck and head coming out of the lake. I'm assuming, right?
Well, yeah, that's a really good question. I'm glad that you came up with that. That's really awesome. That would be amazing. Video of what I saw, besides the 2014 video, which that did happen the same year, was August of 2014. And mind you, it was the same exact spot where I got the sonar images of both of them. And it was two of them when I had the sighting. So there you go. I think it was the same ones. It's weird. I don't like to tell anybody where it was, but it was on the New York side. So I kind of look at that where it's like, I found newspaper reports going back to 1900 of two champ animals in the same area.
Oh,
so
wow.
I kind of wonder, I'm not saying it's the same two, because that sounds stupid, but we know now with science that Greenland sharks can live 450 years. So these animals could probably live that long, being ancient. We don't know. So it could be the same two that have just been kind of haunting the area. I have no idea. So, yeah, a head and neck video would be amazing. It wouldn't be the definitive proof to science, though. That's the sad part. Oh, well, it's doctored or whatever. But, I mean, they can go and analyze anything they want because it's going to come back authentic. So that would be amazing. The other thing would be an underwater video of them coming up to the ROV. That would be really amazing, too. And probably there's two other things. I'm planning on getting a live sonar. So a live sonar would be basically video with the sonar. So, like, not still shots. It would be, like, movement. So that, yeah, exactly. The only problem is you can't go fast with it. You can't go, like, 45 miles an hour, and I think that's why I got them both times, because I was going fast. That's a little secret that I shouldn't even tell anybody. But that sonar unit, it's not advanced enough where you can go that fast. You should kind of either have to sit or you have to go like 10 miles an hour.
Oh
But I'm going to
boy.
call the company and just try to, like, figure out something, because I think the reason why you can't do that with the sonar is, like, they normally have it, like, on a pole on the side of your boat, and they don't want it to break off of that unit. So if I mount it to the back of Kelpie 2, hopefully it would still be able to generate that video still, with the beam going down.
Yep.
I'm not quite sure. And then lastly would be DNA. So the thing now at Loch Ness that they did, they tested the water for DNA. And it came back, basically, they found 20% unknown. And the rest of it was kind of like this, that, and the other. They didn't even find, I think they didn't even find, otter DNA, which is really weird because otters are in Loch Ness. So there was a lot of, really strange gaps between what they found. But to me, 20% of unknown DNA, that's pretty significant. And I guarantee you, I can't really give up much now because I did do a testing of the DNA. I'm not telling for who. I'm not telling what happened, but it's going to be something that's going to be a long study. It's going to be something that's going to continue and continue. I'm working on it. It takes a lot of money to fund it. But the thing is, no matter what, in my opinion, if this animal is not in our known fossil record, it's going to show up unknown, or it's going to show up reptile or amphibian or like a hybrid of sorts. So if it shows up unknown, and even like reptile or amphibian, people can say, well, maybe there's like a new kind of turtle in the lake. You know what I mean? There's nothing to compare it to. That's the problem. Unless you can pull the DNA out of some bones out of a fossil, I'm not sure how that works, because you'd really have to have a huge database of ancient reptiles or ancient amphibians or even ancient mammals. They could have mammal in them too. I don't know. I have no clue. But there's a lot of possibilities. But yeah, the head and neck video will be amazing. The underwater video of them would be amazing, and the DNA would be the icing on the cake. And then maybe I can semi-retire just a little bit. But the way it is, I'm just full bore and just doing the best I can.
And that's the way it should be, I feel like, Katy. Well, I appreciate your time, Katy, and it's been an honor to talk with you. And I can't wait to hopefully meet up with you and everybody else on August 6th. And because we are planning it, it's just who knows what the hell happens before then.
Awesome! Yeah, it'll be fun. Yeah, because we're going to be set up when you're on Main Street. You get to Dock Lane, and you'll see us set up on the right. I'll have a blow-up champ out there with balloons. That's usually what I do. And we'll have, free food and free entertainment, and then Frenchie from Swamp People on the History Channel. And we're going to have the champ hippity hop race. And you know what? I'm not going to be upset if you want to enter that, because I want to go on the hippity hop race myself, but that would be kind of being crooked. So basically, it's like a little... they're blow-up champs, and you sit on them, and they can hold up to 250 pounds.
Oh, wow.
So we can get on them, and you just hop along. And we're going to have different prizes, trophies and stuff like that. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So I hope you can make it. It'll be a great time.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, it already sounds like a good time, and I just can't wait to really see what it's really fully like, because I told Andrea and Kyle, who kind of helped do the champ day. It's kind of weird how I just all of a sudden just heard about this,
Yeah, the thing that's kind of funny is the Chamber of Commerce has their own champ day. And we usually have it the same day. Now, Andrea and Kyle and the Chamber, they have their Champ Day, which is down on the beach. But I have the Champ Fest up on Main Street. So it's a little bit different. We have it the same day, which is kind of cool, because it's they're doing it the same day. The whole town's kind of doing something. So there's vendors on Main Street. There's our Champ Fest. They have the Champ Day. And the reason why I branched off the Champ Day is just because I want to do more of the science behind Champ, rather than like the, you know, the fun carnival type of stuff. Like, I wanted it different. I wanted it a little bit different. So we got 2 different events going on the same day, which is cool because it's like one hand washes the other. You know what I mean? And we help each other out. We help the town out to get some revenue. So it's all good.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, no, I just gotta look to see like where Main Street is in Port Henry, because obviously I know where the beach is for Port Henry. So, yeah, I mean, either way, it's just like I said, it just sounds like a really good time, and yeah, it'll just be a lot of fun. I mean, like I said, we haven't heard about it, and then we just want to try out new things this year and check out new things of what people offer. Kind of like, Whitehall had the Sasquatch Fest, which will be happening in September this year. So, yeah, we want to check that out even.
Yeah, I wanted to go to that this year, and I was supposed to go last year, but I didn't because I got something that happened. But I'm going to be actually speaking in Virginia at a conference, so I won't make it this year. Yeah, it's a crypto conference. It's let me think of the name of it now. I'm part of so many damn things.
It's not like CryptidCon, right?
No, it's not CryptidCon. Let's see. Let me look on my page here. Big West Virginia Bigfoot and Friends, I think, is the conference. I'm trying to look here. I get so mixed up with names.
I hear ya.
But yeah, I'm going to be doing that. Oh yeah, here we go. Southwest Virginia Bigfoot and Friends, a cryptid celebration, and it's going to be at the Salem Civic Center in Salem, Virginia. And that'll be on September 24th, 9 to 5 p.m. So I'll be there doing a lecture on the science behind Champ, the data I've obtained, all the different sightings, and basically the future of, what we're doing with the equipment and some updates onto the equipment that we're trying to get. So that'll be fun.
Oh, definitely. Now, Katie, just before we go, so we'll just mention it again. So to keep up to date with all your camp. Oh my goodness, I'm thinking of Kyle again. Anyway,
we've been talking a long time, so it's okay.
Yeah, I know. Well, I love talking and learning new things too.
I feel like this whole time was like 15 minutes because we had so much fun.
Exactly, and what I'm trying to say is, can we just at least one more time say for people, where can they keep up to date for your Champ search? There we go.
Okay. If people want to keep up to date with our research, you can go to Facebook and type in Champ Search in the search bar, and you'll find our up-to-date pretty much every day. Not right now because it's spring and we're just getting into Champ season, but normally I'm out there every single day, and I take out the research vessel. You can go on that Facebook page, Champ Search, and check out all of our stuff that's coming up. Normally our website now, it was officialchampsearch.webs.com. You can still go on there, but it's kind of lousy. I got to update it. But I'm going on to a new website, which is www.officialchampsearch.com. But right now, everybody go to the Champ Search page on Facebook, and you can keep up to date with all of our upcoming stuff, TV shows that are going to be on the History Channel, Travel Channel, etc. And that's basically it. And if you have any questions or you have a sighting, give me a shout on that page. Feel free to send me a message.
All right. And that's also where we can message you for your books and stuff too, correct?
Absolutely, yes.
All right, awesome.
I'll be doing like some commercials for Champ Fest and also the book and stuff like that. So stay tuned for that stuff.
Yes, and when the time comes to Katie, I'd love to have you back on so we can talk more champ because I just feel like there's so much more that we might have not really dived
Oh,
into.
geez. I
But
mean, we could probably go on like another like 4 hours. Like,
oh
there's
boy,
so much stuff. Definitely,
yeah,
I would be honored to be back on the show.
I appreciate it, Katie. Yeah, maybe what we can do too, for even for the listeners' sake, to hear this. But you and I can kind of talk back and forth to try to figure out what we can talk about next time, and convert notes and stuff that way. So that way we know a little bit more of what we're talking about, rather than me just going, "Okay, I really want to talk about this," but then she just mentioned this, and it's just like, "What do I do? What do I dive in?"
And
Oh,
we could even do like a little if you come out on the boat, we could do like a little webisode of us out on the boat doing the research out there too. If you make it out in August, that would be
oh,
cool.
that
Or
would be
even
funny.
July, like anytime that's free for you, and we'll be out there.
That's true, yeah. But that's actually kind of funny because I've been talking to my partner Tessa and trying to plan maybe what we want to start doing more of, since COVID kind of gave us the whole cabin fever crap. Is we would love to start going out throughout Vermont and making like little video blogs or something of like haunted places or whatever.
Yeah, that would be really cool because there's like so many strange places. Have you ever heard of? You probably know about this. Let me think of the cemetery. It's a tomb. Oh my God, what the hell is it? Oh, Laurel Glen. Laurel Glen. It's down in Proctorsville, Vermont.
Hmm. Okay.
I'll have to send you the link, but the gentleman that had the big mansion of a house, which is like I think 1900 or something, his wife and his daughter passed away, and
Mm-hmm.
back then tuberculosis was a huge thing, and the place is supposedly haunted, and there's a statue of him on the steps with one knee on the
Oh,
step. Yeah.
Bowman's mansion, right?
Bowman, yeah, exactly. Like, oh my God, I used to get like the chill, not a bad feeling, but like a feeling I've been there before, and
Yeah,
it's
you
just
were
weird.
mentioning that before. Which no, I don't even know if you went into that, but a little bit. Maybe we could save that for next time. But yeah, Bowman, yeah, that's like I want to say that's like 45 minutes away from where I am.
Oh,
But
okay.
but yeah, I actually took Tessa there once and told her all about like how it's supposedly haunted and stuff. And I kind of wish I knew the person that kind of take care of that house, because I'd kind of love to see if I could possibly step in it so I could like really get a feel of that place.
Yeah,
I do.
I think it's like the historical society that takes care of it. So you might
Hmm.
I can find out like online how to get in touch with them. Because that would be really cool. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I have the I don't know if I have the guts to get in there. Because, like I said, with paranormal stuff, I'm just like, kind of stay away.
Yeah. No, I
If
don't blame you there.
Champ follows me home, I'm cool. I'm really happy about it. But if something else that I can't control, I don't know.
Yeah. But
Been
the
there,
next
done that.
but the next question though is, Katie, is where would you put Champ? In a bathtub or a pool? What would you do?
It's funny because a lot of people have asked me, have you ever found like a baby champ? Which is like the movie Water Horse, which is have you ever seen the movie?
Oh God, yeah. Just like
Oh my
have
God.
you ever seen Nessie and Me?
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
So, the funny thing is, Dennis Hall, that I used to work with real quick, his father and him caught something that was really strange out of Otter Creek, and Otter Creek runs into Lake Champlain. I got a really strange piece of game camera footage. I can send you that too, of tapetum lucidum eye shine going by. But
Hmm.
they caught something in the creek. His dad reeled in the line, excuse me, and this little 12-inch reptile-looking thing. It looked like a turtle without a shell. Came walking up the embankment.
Wow.
And they're like, what the hell is that? So, and I didn't really believe this story. There's a lot of stuff that Dennis told me I didn't believe until he was sitting with me when I had the head and neck sighting, and I cried and cried and cried. And he looked at me, and he laughed and laughed and laughed. I'm like, what the hell is wrong with you? He's like, I am so glad you were here with me, because now finally someone knows I'm not insane. And, I mean, otherwise, like, he kind of is, but, like, as far as Champ, he's not. Like, he totally isn't. So when he told me about when he was a kid fishing with his dad and they caught this strange reptile, came walking up the embankment, he picked it up and it was hissing and it had a forked tongue. So they put it in a bucket. They put it in a bucket, kind of like a Komodo dragon. Is probably the best description that I kind of like put that forward to him, and I'm like, what do you think of it? Oh yeah, it's very much like it. So they put it in a bucket and they brought it to the University of Vermont, UVM, and they said, okay, you know, this is uncatalogued. We have no idea what this is.
Oh, wow.
So here's the funny part. They don't hear anything. There was a guy that worked for the Enterprise paper of Vergennes, Vermont. I live down the street from Vergennes. I live in Ferrisburgh. So I went to the library. I tried to find this article. It's gone. Can't find anything. So the guy that took the photo of this creature in the bucket passed away. I can't really find. Maybe I'm going to do some more digging to who it was. I tried. It's like somebody dies is kind of hard because, like, if they don't have any kids or any heirs, it's like, where do you go? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Yep.
And so then I said to Dennis, I'm like, okay, did you find anything else after the fact? And he said, well, yeah. It went to the local high school, and they put it in, like, a dark aldehyde, like it died. And I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? So he said, I went to the high school, which is down the street from me, and he said, I went into the office, and they said, oh, go to the science lab. And come to find out, they were redoing the science lab, and all the specimens were gone.
Wow.
Because he goes, I never thought it was a baby champ, because I just thought it was some weird mutation which it could have been. It could have been anything. Some people say it was a mud puppy, because there's mud puppies in Lake Champlain. They're big giant salamander with little tough like things on their head, and they're kind of cool looking. I like to have them for a pet.
Oh,
but
yeah.
It didn't, he's caught mud puppies. He's like, no, this was not a mud puppy. A mud puppy cannot lift its belly off the ground and walk like that. They don't have a forked tongue. And that amazed me. And when he went to get that specimen, they're like, oh, no, we incinerated all of them. And then when I got a hold of UVM, oh, that never happened. So it makes you wonder sometimes.
Yeah.
So if I ever caught one or found one, guess what? I wouldn't tell anybody. I get a DNA sample. I get a DNA sample, and I'd send it in. I do a swab. I keep it. I'd feed it, and I wouldn't tell a goddamn soul. That's just me. But I would get the DNA. I would get the DNA, and then, well, I'm sure it takes a long time for them to grow, so it'd be like the movie Water Horse, but that one grew in like 3 days, so I don't think that's going to happen.
No, that's Hollywood for you.
Gotta love Hollywood.
Yes and no at times, right? But yeah, no, Katie, I appreciate your time, and we'll definitely have to do like part 2, part 3, part 4, or whatever we can think of. But
definitely. We'll get together and do some. If you want to go out and do some strange stuff with, maybe I'll do some ghost stuff. We'll see. We'll see. I got to bring some holy water and some sage. So we'll get some stuff going. I think it'll be really cool, and it was great speaking with you about my research and some of our strange experiences in life. It's really cool to meet someone who's had some really weird stuff happen too.
Oh yeah, and if you haven't heard any of my episodes where I describe like my encounter, you should definitely check those out because they are weird and mysterious.
I'll have to go back and listen. Yeah, definitely.
And yeah, I hope you enjoy like what we offer here. I mean, like I always make fun of the 1-star review we got on iTunes, which is we're not lore. We're not trying to be like lore. We're just trying to do our own thing. And unfortunately, what podcast doesn't rip off something that another podcast has already done because everybody had done it. You know, nobody.
Exactly.
It's like nobody had their own unique thing anymore because, well, somebody must have already done it.
Yeah, I totally agree. That's why, like, with the research, I try to go outside the box and try different
Mhm.
things. And it's like, everybody's like, oh, plesiosaur, plesiosaur. I'm like, I love the plesiosaur. As a matter of fact, I have a ring that my fiance got me as an engagement ring, and it's made out of plesiosaur teeth.
Hmm.
So that's
That.
pretty cool. It's really unique. So I'm like, I got a plesiosaur tooth all ground up on my finger, and I still don't believe Champ's a plesiosaur. But they're probably one of the closest things that whatever these species are. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I think we say plesiosaur because it literally is like the closest thing we can actually like pinpoint, you know.
Yeah,
And
totally.
until we uh, crack the code of the quote unknown branch of what it is per se, you know, kind of like Sasquatch, you know, that comes back like what 90% human and 10% unknown or something. I forget, but yeah,
Yeah.
that's a whole ball game. Oh, I'll probably get messages I don't ask this. So this will be my final question, Katie, and
Okay.
I promise I will let you go after that.
That's okay. Go ahead.
So have you heard about there's a possible UFO base in Lake Champlain?
I have, yes. There was I'm trying to remember, it's in my book. There was a report, there's been a few reports of UFO sightings around Lake Champlain, excuse me, and one of them, it was, I have to look up the date now, because I can't remember. Let's see here.
It wasn't like 2014, was it? Or, yeah, 2014, 2016 maybe?
No, I think this was like an old report. Oh,
Oh.
yeah, it's really old, 68.
Oh, wow. Yeah, okay, I don't know this one.
It was like these two teens that were sitting on the edge of Lake Champlain near Colchester, Vermont.
Yep.
And they saw a light go into the lake. And then all of a sudden they like just don't remember anything, lost time.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they kind of like remembered everything, there was like a canoe thing, like a group canoe meeting or something going on. And usually it was like 2 hours long, and they were coming back from doing the canoe meeting, like little thing that they did. And they were like, what the hell? They're like, oh, where you been? Like, we're just coming back. And they're like, what? And then they did hypnosis, and like they figured out they got abducted by a UFO that came out of Lake Champlain. So that was in 68. So,
wow.
And then there was another one. I have to look at the date. I normally don't have to look up dates. I'm not as in tune with the UFO stuff as I am with Champ. 1989, they were driving from Westport, New York to Port Henry, and they got chased by a UFO. So there's been quite a few things, and all in that same circumference of a triangle, which I call it the Champ Triangle.
I've never heard of this then.
Yeah, this I call it the Champ Triangle, but there's been the UFO reports, Bigfoot reports, and Champ reports, and where I got my sonar readings, and where I had the head and neck sighting. So makes you wonder, and that's the thing.
Does.
A lot of people say, well, maybe Champ's paranormal, and I'm like, I believe they're biological, but there's something behind it. And I think the reason is, honestly, the Native Americans call them the horned serpents. And I believe, because they were told by their elders, the Champ animals were there to protect Lake Champlain. And when I look in the Native American legends, it goes like this. It says, the horned serpents are there to protect the lake. They will either come to harm to you, or if you're in great aspect of protection to them, they will bless you with their protection. And that makes me wonder, because my friend Frank was a Cherokee that passed away, and he did a huge ceremony, and that's when we got the sonar images. I think we broke that bubble that was around it. So even though they're biological, and I believe this with Loch Ness too, there's something that protects them. I really believe that. And we broke that little seal of a bubble that was around them. And I think they know your true intent. If you're out there to harm them or whatever. Because in one more thing real quick. In 2018, I wrote a law to protect Champ in New York in Port Henry, and it was passed unanimously. So I wrote a New York state law to protect Champ. So that was an awesome thing, and I'm really happy about that.
Yeah, I think Andrea and Kyle told me that, and that was awesome. And now it's only we can do it over here on the Vermont side.
Well, I do find Vermont a little bit more difficult. I do.
Know.
I don't know what it is, but I have no problem in New York with stuff. Vermont, it's just like the Echo Center in Burlington. Ooh, we got this big dinosaur exposition thing going on. It's like you got freaking dinosaurs in the damn lake. Or they're having a beer fest. What the hell does that have to do with the health of Lake Champlain? That's what they're supposed to be about.
Yeah,
not
exactly.
about beer. Not about beer. And they don't realize they really could market from doing that. And also bring the awareness and the science behind Champ forward. I just don't get it. I don't know. But New York seems to be more open with Champ. I don't know why. I really don't know why.
Maybe because they appreciate the sightings. Look at Bowaga Beach real quick. They actually have a sign there that actually has people's names and
I've been trying to get the town of Burlington to get a sign put up for Vermont. Or even Button Bay, where I've had my sightings. Because, I'd be on there probably, 4 times, and then Dennis would be on there, more than me. And then, there's so many people on the Vermont side, especially Button Bay. I just think it would be so much fun, and I don't get it. I just don't get it. But I think this year I'm going to really pursue trying to get that kind of stuff going.
Yeah, that would be amazing. Now, if we can, maybe what we need is some petition with 2,000 signatures, if not more. So that would be interesting.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, you know what? Maybe I could do that online, because I know I see those petitions with animal abuse. I'm a big animal advocate because I'm an animal nut. I like animals more than people. That's for
I'm the
sure.
same way. I am the same way. Yeah. No, why not? I mean, it would be a start. It would be the best way to first start getting recognition to the cause that you're trying to do, or we'll call it a cause, but yeah, because that's usually what they what the petition sites call it, is a cause. Yeah, but we'll figure it out. If you do start one of that, you'll have to send me the link, and I'll share it all over the damn place too.
Okay, awesome!
Yay! Well, anyway, Katie, I don't want to take up any more time.
Okay, no problem. I know we've been on the phone forever, which is a good thing because it felt like 20 minutes, like I said.
Oh, yeah. When we start talking, cool stuff like Champ and everything else mysterious, it really doesn't seem like time just flies by, but then again, it does. So,
like I said, the world is a mysterious place, and we only know probably about 5% of it, really. And especially the oceans. I mean, there's 98% unexplored. I do scuba diving. I'm going to be doing some scuba diving in Lake Champlain this summer, and I do it down in the Florida Keys, and I'm really excited to take that part of my skill towards the research, and I'm a little bit on the edgy side because I don't really want anything swimming up next to me, but it would be kind of cool. I'm going to have to take a Valium or something, because who wants, this 15 to 30 foot long creature coming up next to them. Not that they harm anybody, but that's kind of scary.
Yeah, that would be kind of nerve-wracking, wouldn't it? Just make sure you have an underwater camera so you can just get that proof.
I always have my GoPro. I'll send you some shots of me doing some snorkeling and stuff, too. I'll send those.
Alrighty. All right, well, for everybody else, thank you for listening for this, I want to say 2 hour and 10-minute conversation here with Katy Elizabeth, but there's so much to take in. Champ has so much more knowledgeable thing that we still have yet to even figure out. Katy has been doing this for quite some time now, since 2012, and we basically scratched the surface even with this conversation. So as me and Katy put it, we're probably going to need to do part 2, part 3, part 4. So stay tuned for more episodes with Katy, and it was a pleasure. And make sure you keep up to date with everything Champ search, and all the links will be down at the bottom of this episode for her Facebook and the official site and more. So make sure you get all that up to date. And if you want a book of the water horse of Lake Champlain, make sure you also message Katy on her Champ search. And that's about it. So like I always say when we talk about Champ, I'm going to say it again anyway. So keep your eyes open on that lake, because you just never know if you're going to either A, see Champ come out of the water, or B, maybe see a UFO diving in and out of the lake.